Hello, and many blessings, brothers and sisters. My name is Jermaine Felton, and today's reading will be coming out of Genesis chapter 48, verses 1 to 22. And in today's reading, we'll be reading about Jacob blessing both of Joseph's sons. With that being said, let's start today's reading. One day, not long after this word came to Joseph, your father is failing rapidly. So Joseph went to visit his father, and he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. When Joseph arrived, Jacob was told, "Your son Joseph has come to see you." So Jacob gathered his strength and sat up in his bed. Jacob said to Joseph, "God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me. He said to me, 'I will make you fruitful and I will multiply your descendants. I will make you a multitude of nations, and I will give this land of Canaan to your descendants after you as in an everlasting possession.' Now I am claiming as my own sons these two boys of yours, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born here in the land of Egypt before I arrived. They will be my sons, just as Reuben and Simon are. But any children born to you in the future will be your own, and they will inherit land within the territories of their brothers Ephraim and Manasseh. Long ago, I was returning from Padan Aram. Rachel died in the land of Canaan. We were still on the way some distance from Ephrath, that is the Bethlehem. So with great sorrow I buried her there beside the road of Ephrath. Then Jacob looked over at the boys. Are those your sons? He asked. Yes, replied. Yes, Joseph told him. These are the sons of God has given me here in Egypt. And Jacob said, bring them closer to me so I can bless them. Jacob was half blind because of his age and could hardly see. So Joseph brought the boys close to him, and Jacob kissed and embraced them. Then Jacob said to Joseph, I've never thought I would see your face again, but now God has let me see your children too. Joseph moved the boys who were at the grandfather's knees, and he bowed with his face to the ground. Then he positioned the boys in front of Jacob. With his right hand, he directed Ephraim toward Jacob's left hand, and with his left hand, he put Manasseh at Jacob's right hand. But Jacob crossed his arms and reached out to lay his hands on the boy's head. He put his right hand on the head of Ephraim, though he was the younger boy, and his left hand on the head of Manasseh, though he was the firstborn. Then he blessed Joseph and said, May the God before whom my grandfather Abraham and my father Isaac walked, the God who has been my shepherd all my life to this very day, the angel who has redeemed me from all harm, may he bless these boys. May they preserve my name and the name of Abraham and Isaac, and may their descendants multiply greatly throughout this earth. But Joseph was upset when he saw that his father placed his right hand on Ephraim's head. So Joseph lifted it to move it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. No, my father, he said, this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused. I know, my son, I know, he replied. Manasseh will also become a great people, but his younger brother will become even greater, and his descendants will become a multitude of nations. So Jacob blessed the boys that day. With the blessing, the people of Israel would use your names when they're giving blessings. They will say, may God make you as prosperous as Ephraim and Manasseh. In this way, Jacob put Ephraim ahead of Manasseh. Then Jacob said to Joseph, look, I am about to die, but God will be with you, and I will take you back to Canaan, the land of your ancestors, and beyond what I'm giving your brothers, I'm giving you an extra portion of the land that I took from the Amorites with my sword and bow. So we see here in verses 8 through 20 that Jacob gave Ephraim, instead of his older brother Manasseh, the greater blessing. When Joseph objected, Jacob refused to listen because God had told him that Ephraim will be greater. God often works in unexpected ways. When he chooses people to fulfill his plans, he always goes deeper than appearance. traditions, or position. He sometimes surprises us by choosing the less obvious person, at least by human reasoning. God can use you to carry out his plans, even if you don't think you have all the qualifications. We also see in verse 11, when Joseph became a slave, Jacob thought he was dead and wept in despair. We see this in Genesis 37:34. But eventually, God's plans allowed Jacob to regain not only his son, but his grandchildren as well. Circumstances are never so bad that they are beyond God's help. Jacob regained his sons. Job got a new family. We see this in Job 42, verses 10 through 17. Mary regained her brother Lazarus. We see this in John 11, 1 through 44. We need never despair because we belong to a loving God. We don't yet know what good he may bring out of our seemingly hopeless situation. In verse 15, Jacob spoke of God as his shepherd throughout his life. In his old age, he could clearly see his dependence on God. This marks a total attitude change from that of his scheming and dishonest youth. To develop an attitude like Jacob's, let God shepherd you as you trust in provision and care. When people chase after what they want with no thought of God, they are willing to do anything, even what is wrong, in order to get it. It is far better to trust God and realize that the good things come from his hand. And I pray that God's word will bless you today. I pray that you will read this word, get a better understanding with yourself. And I will see you all tomorrow. Have a blessed day, brothers and sisters.